Hello, my magic seeker friends, and welcome to our next episode of You Are the Magic with me, your host and guide, Deb D. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you about affirmations and why we don't want to put the sugar on top because, my friends, that ain't so sweet. Today's episode is the last episode I'm going to be sharing for 2023, which is our short launch season of You Are the Magic. But it's the first episode that I knew I was going to share. So when I knew that You Are the Magic is coming alive, it's becoming manifest, I had a whole heap of different ideas around what I wanted to share. But this episode around affirmations, I knew I wanted to share. I knew exactly the moment and the lesson I wanted to share when affirmations deepened for me. And I knew it was going to be the last episode shared. And that's because today is the 20th of December, 2023. The last episode for us this year. But for me and my family, it is now 9 days away from the 1 year anniversary of the first year we acknowledge the passing of my elder sister, Kathleen Ann Driscoll. On the 29th of December, 2022, my sister Kathy surrendered her warrior journey in this life. And so I knew that I wanted to honor her and her healing journey. And I knew I wanted it to be the final note for this year so that it may bring about a healing and a support for my family, for her husband, Greg, for her children, Rowan and Jarrah, for us all, as we prepare to meet this day, that first anniversary of Kathy's death day, the day she went away. So I just want to share at the top of this piece that I've spent days preparing to stand here to share this, to be the channel for this today. And yesterday, it had me collapsing from the inside out. Our big life losses can do that when we're working towards a big anniversary or a date that means something in particular, or just the day where the heaviness is full. So I'm sharing this with you so that if at any point along today, while I'm sharing, I need to take a big deep breath, just please breathe with me, because it is my intention to be a clear channel for this message today. And I'm also aware that I can feel my heart fluttering in a way that it does as it's just about to break open again. I've called in my sister Kathy to stand with me today from Spirit, and I have invited her to not only be with me, but I have asked her permission to be able to share these lessons and this journey with you today, because it's important when we're sharing other people's stories or lessons we've learned from others that we ask permission. Even if that person is in spirit, we still want to seek that permission. We want to know that we are in alignment to be the clear channels. And it's my absolute delight to be that channel for you today and to stand here with my sister Kathy in spirit. So let's meet Kathy. Gosh, she's so amazing, my friends. Kathy is our elder. So I'm the middle child of 7. My mum, Barbara, and my dad, Colin, they produced this amazing Driscoll clan of 7 children. I'm the middle child. Everything about middle children is true, but that's a different story. And Kathy is our elder. She came first. And I'm a little bit biased, I will admit. But in terms of an elder, Kathy was such a reverent elder. like the wisdom, the generosity, the way she was able to support us and guide us. I feel so lucky to be a Driscoll in this clan, but also to be in the company of Kathy as my elder. Like, I think all of us in the Driscoll clan will agree, how lucky are we that Kathy is our elder? There is so much that she taught me over her life. But today in particular, I want to teach and share about affirmations. That's where we're driving to. That's where we're going to get to, because Kathy and I learned something really important together. And Kathy is a creative. She's not only my elder, she was my very first creative mentor. Kathy in this life explored creativity in so many different ways, as well as education. So Kathy was a creative and an educator, and she explored this throughout her life through dance and movement and puppetry and poetry. And so for me, as I was growing up, she was the first real artist that I knew. And so I was able to learn through Kathy and with Kathy. And it created this beautiful dynamic between Kathy and I, where we would travel together in separate but very similar landscapes. And then so interesting that our life journeys became two tracks, parallel healing tracks, more than 10 years ago. In the February of 2013, Kathy was diagnosed with breast cancer, and her warrior journey of healing began. In the 3rd of April that year, just weeks after Kathy's diagnosis, is when Sage surrendered his earthbound life, and I began my journey in my big life loss towards my big life magic. So Kathy and I started on these bigger healing journeys together, merely weeks apart. And Sage's death, it happened in Kathy's house. I was under her roof when my son chose to leave. We were there to support Kathy in the beginning parts of her journey, having no idea that my bigger journey was just about to begin. So for more than 10 years, Kathy and I worked these parallel lines of healing. And for Kathy, she was on this constant pursuit towards life. She grabbed onto hope, and she worked that hope towards her healing. She was completely dedicated to finding the healing path forward. And when I say a warrior journey, I mean it in the complete, bring the full energy and strength of a warrior, because that's exactly what Kathy did with her more than 10-year journey with cancer. And along the way, here I was, not so much connected to hope and life staying. I was learning how to surrender and accept that life has ended and what happens in the aftermath. So you can see Kathy and I are on this 10-year journey together, but we're at different extremes. And at different points in our journey, we would cross paths, and I would learn something from her, she would learn something from me, and sometimes it informed our journeys, and sometimes it was just us being the witness to each other. In Kathy's journey, one of the things I admired about her journey not only was this determination, this hope, this driving towards life, it was also this clarity that she had in her journey. In Kathy's journey, she was very clear about the healing path that she was on and what she was seeking. And she was also clear about what she wasn't seeking. So Kathy was open to creative expression. because that's who she was. She was open to learning about the healing path because as an educator, that's who she was. But Kathy is also a woman who spent her earthbound years deeply connected to being practical and earthbound. So this is also where there was this extreme in our stories, in our healing paths. For Kathy, was open to many forms of healing, but not so much in playing in the spirit realm and playing with magic in the way that I was in my healing journey. So for Kathy, she explored therapy, all the many, many doctors that she worked with, continued to explore movement in her body. She found great peace and healing in a meditation practice that deepened over the years of her journey. And at times she welcomed in massage and Reiki and acupuncture. So there was all these different modalities. But the one thing that was clear for Kathy is the realm of what does this mean for my spirit? What is my spirit learning? Like that play up in the magic realm where I tend to hang out a lot. For a huge part of Kathy's journey, that was not a part of her healing. And she was clear about that, which made this space for me to be able to walk beside her and know that she was on her path, and everything I know about the spirit realm, it was not needed on her path because she hadn't asked for it. What a gift for me. And for everybody listening, let's all take this in. When somebody is on a healing path, even if we have maybe more to add or a way that they could see their healing, if they have not asked for it or they feel they do not need it, that is enough. That is all the information that you need. Until someone invites you into a chapter of their healing journey, until that invitation is clear, then it's not needed. We do not ever, please never, my magic maker friends, push or force yourself into somebody else's healing journey. Because what happens when we are actually on a healing journey is we unfold and find what we need, when we need it, and when we're ready for it, which is exactly what happened with Kathy. So it was more than a year before her passing. I don't know exactly how long, like a year and a bit, where Kathy did start to open up to wanting to know more about what is my spirit experiencing here. Up until that point, there'd been a lot of focus on mentally dealing with her life and her healing, absolutely the physical healing. And there was a clarity around, I don't have the space to be able to bring in this spiritual learning narrative. I don't need it now. And then came this moment where Kathy felt that she needed it, she wanted it, and she had some space for it. And this is where I was invited in. This will now forever be one of the great privileges of my life, to be able to meet my sister in this place, to be invited into this deeper healing with my sister. One of the things that we decided early on, almost immediately, is I am not the healer here. I know as a healer and as a channel, when I am too close, it's too confusing and it's too hard to hold that space as healer. And so I was clear with Kathy that I could explore this spirit realm with her, but I would not step into the place of being healer. And we both agreed that that felt appropriate and also supportive for the two of us as sisters. And so what I did is I aligned my sister Kathy with a healer who I had been working with for years, who started to do some distant healing work in the spirit realm. and would share messages with Kathy around what she was receiving during the healings. Now, there wasn't a lot of healings. There was just this opening of this space. But what I invited Kathy into is this: I can be your companion there. We're walking together on this path of healing, and I can be the person who listens, who helps you to interpret some of what this spiritual jargon or language or the symbols and metaphors and messages, what they may mean for you. And for Kathy, that was the yes. Yes, please meet me there, because I want to be able to talk about it. I want to be able to explore it. And so with Kathy, we explored many different aspects that were coming through when she started to connect to spirit. And some of that was ancestral healing. Some of that was around accepting death in order to actually really fully live in the life that you still have. But what I want to talk about now is this moment that Kathy and I shared, and it was around affirmations. So Kathy and I would set up times to have our healing conversations. So I wasn't living in Australia, and so we would find the time zone that was working for the two of us, and we would have these appointments to have these phone dates. And one day we're on the phone and I open up with Kathy, like, what's your spirit telling you now? What are you working on now at this point in your journey? And Kathy brings forward, I've started to work with affirmations. And this wasn't like brand new for Kathy. I mean, I think a lot of us know affirmations as a healing tool, and particularly if you're in meditation and working in that kind of working with your mind energy around your healing. But Kathy had put this focus on working with affirmations. And so I asked her, I said, so tell me, how is that going? And she said, well, I don't know really. I don't know if it's working. And I said, okay, well, let's unpack that. What's actually happening? What's your affirmation? And Kathy shared an affirmation about, I am healed and I am well. And I was like, okay, great. That's a great affirmation. And what's your connection to it? And she was like, well, this is my hope. This is what I want. This is what I'm working towards. And I said, yes, indeed. This is what you're working towards. And Kathy did that for the whole 10 years, working towards this hope, this healing. This is what she would ask people, those people who would say, how can I help? And she would say, just hold an image of me, healed and well, smiling, enjoying my life. She was clear on this vision. She was clear on this request. But when it came to her affirmation, it wasn't quite working. So we're in this conversation and I say to Kathy, I say, okay, so feel into that affirmation. Does it feel like maybe you don't have that reality now, but do you feel like that is actually in the energy line for you? Is that where you're working towards? Is that further down this healing journey for you? And I know the hope is there, but what's actually the core feeling here? And that's when Kathy just paused. There was silence on the line, and I could hear Kathy breathing. I could feel it all starting to settle and deepen. And then Kathy said to me, that's not how I feel. And I said, share with me, Kathy, how do you actually feel deep down? And she said, I feel broken. I feel like a part of me is broken and I don't know why it broke. And I'm just trying to fix it. And it's not coming back together. And so I just stayed in this moment with Kathy. When someone shares a truth in their healing journey, please don't rush ahead. Please don't try to tell them that that's not true or that there's more than that. Just be in this moment of truth, because this is where that hope that we have for our healing can meet the truth of where we are actually at in our healing. So when it felt like we were ready to move forward, I said, Kathy, where do you feel this brokenness? And she said, I feel it deep inside. And I said, have you been feeling this the whole time? And she said, I haven't necessarily felt this the whole time. It's taken some time for this truth to actually be verbalized, for it to be able to be a part of what I can say out loud. And so I shared with her, I said, now this work is deepening, Kathy. You are connected to the truth. You are connected to, I feel broken. And so I shared with her, if I feel broken is the energy set point, and you are saying in your affirmation, I am healed and well, that affirmation is merely the sugar on top. It is not actually connected to how you really feel. It's just words. It's just hopeful words that are not connected to the truth. And so I said, Kathy, let's explore. What's possible if we take I am broken as your truth and we add this hope of this healing that you have and we put them together? What do we have then? What's possible as an affirmation for you there? And that's when Kathy started to explore, I want to understand what broke. I want to understand why this part of me broke. And I was like, now, Kathy, now the work is deepening. And so I was able to share with Kathy some different activations around releasing some of this energy, around exploring some new affirmations. And I'm going to say that there was creative play. There was definite healing here. But in that moment when Kathy connected to her truth, I feel broken, the healing had already activated. When we can connect to our truth and not add the sugar on top, when we can mix that truth in with our healing desire, that is the true practical magic mix of the woo being the healing we desire and that real truth of where we're at. We need to meet ourselves where we're at all stages in our transformations and in our healings. And this is what Kathy started to explore, being connected to this truth, not putting the sugar on top. Because when we do that spiritual bypassing, when we do that toxic positivity, what happens is that sugar just melts and creates a sticky mess. And then we end up in that position where Kathy was, where she was like, well, I'm trying this affirmation, but nothing feels different. I don't think it's working. And it won't work in that sense. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have big affirmations. You can't have big dreams and hope for your healing journeys. But next time you go to create an affirmation, start with, where's my truth? And then what you want to do is feel into, where can that truth transform? What can I learn about myself in that truth? What's unfolding from that truth? Because those very fancy, amazing affirmations that are all up there will just stay up there. Which is why so many people can say, yeah, I tried that affirmation thing and it didn't really work. Affirmations work when they are connected to your truth. And I'm not saying you are affirming, I am broken. You're just starting from I am broken. And then what is it that you want? And for Kathy, it was about, I want to feel these broken pieces coming together. I want to feel like these broken pieces can begin to tell me a story. I want to enforce and empower my hope. All of that was able to meet Kathy. and support her in the last year of her healing journey. Because when I say that my sister, my elder, met this journey with all hope, she had that hope right down to the end. The very last time I said goodbye to Kathy, when I hugged her outside of her home in the Blue Mountains, and I knew it was the last time. As I pulled away from that hug, Kathy looked at me and she said, "I'm hopeful." And I could meet her there. And I knew that she was hopeful for her healing. I knew that she was actually hopeful for her Christmas miracle, where she would be able to sit at the Christmas dinner with her husband, her children, and feel this celebration of life. I know she had so many hopes, and in that moment I had hopes for her, that she would have this moment with her children together under the same roof with her husband, for their family to be together in this love and in this celebration of life. And I had hope that her passing would be peaceful. And we met each other at this hope. I'm hopeful. It's the last words that Kathy shared with me. I'm hopeful. And so I invite this for your affirmations. Please be hopeful. You want your affirmation to be bigger and where you want to go. But let's learn from myself and Kathy. Affirmations work when they're not sugar on top, when they're connected to our truth. And don't put the sugar on top. Put the hope on top. Put your hope for yourself. The hope you can reach. Because once you reach that, you can make the next affirmation and the next affirmation and the next affirmation. And we can build our healing journeys on layers of truth and hope. As shared, my family is preparing for the first death day anniversary of Kathleen Ann Driscoll. And so I honour my sister, Kathy, in the sharing of this today. I have felt her strength with me as I have been sharing this with you today. But I want to extend further out and add some hope. I am hopeful that her husband, Greg, will feel deep love and support as he prepares for the death day anniversary and all the days that follow. And I thank him for being an amazing partner to my sister. I am hopeful that his children, my niece and nephew, Rowan and Jara, feel completely embraced by their mother's love and the love of everybody in our family and our community as they prepare to mark this day and all the days following. I am hopeful that my mother's heart will receive the healing balm that it needs when she acknowledges the day that her first child left. And I am hopeful that for all of us in the Driscoll clan, all of us siblings are able to be together and knit together our own love blanket that will hold us as we mark the day that our elder left. And I am hopeful that Kathy will continue to be the amazing creative and educator in all of our lives. And I am hopeful that Kathy, with my father Colin and my son Sage in spirit, are together, loving, further healing in soul, and supporting all of us here earthbound, because we miss her and we deeply love her. And I am hopeful that this love will continue to grow. And I am hopeful that for everyone on a healing journey where you feel like you need to be the warrior, that you can find this beautiful mix of truth and hope to support you in your affirmations. And we can leave the sugar for that sweet moment when you want to eat the cake or eat all of the chocolate, because that's a part of your healing journey. Hands up, that happens to me. And I am hopeful that this episode today has given you the healing balm that you need. Breathe it in, my friends. There is a lot of truth to bring into our healing journeys. And I invite forever hope that healing is possible and magic is just merely a beat away. It has been my absolute delight to be your host of You Are the Magic. This is our final episode for 2023. We're going to be back in January with so much more to share. We're going to be playing with the moon next year. We're going to be talking about how do you connect to angels and guides. When I say I'm a channel, what does it actually mean? How could you do that yourself? The first season, we're going to explore earth magic, which is also a part of what we explore in the Big Life Magic Makers. Our first season next year in 2024 is all about earth magic. But for now, breathe it in with me, my friends. Whatever it is that this episode has given you, plant it deep. It's a gift for you, and I am hopeful that it will grow. And I dedicate this episode of You Are the Magic to my elder, my forever and first elder, Kathleen Ann Driscoll. May your spirit continue to heal and soar. Big love, everybody.